It just started raining. This is not a waterproof camera. And then we started the race, and within like 8 steps, he was just like, "Eat my dust. I'll see you at the end." And I never saw him again until the finish line.
Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. It's Dana.
Welcome to Isaiah and Dana. I'm just looking at what I'm drinking. It's organic blackberry lemon social tonic.
What's a social tonic?
Well, I don't know. It's a tonic you drink when you're being social.
I've never been a social tonic person, but maybe this is a good time to start. But today I kind of wanted to just talk a little bit about the no sugar year, because I think that we are doing a year. We're going to try really hard to do a year with no sugar.
No added sugar.
No added sugar.
Like it's still fruits and stuff.
Right. Fruits, raw honey, that kind of thing. So we're going to start it off with a few icebreaker questions for Dana.
Okay.
What was your first ever memory of sugar?
What a weird question. I don't have an answer for that.
You don't?
Because no, I have a strong stance against. Oh my gosh, I have a strong stance against first memories because I think that's just bullshit. You don't know your first memory. It might be like one of your early memories, but I cannot be convinced because I know a decent amount about human memory, and basically it sucks. So for people who are like, I know my first memory, nope, you lose all credibility with me. I don't trust anything you tell me ever again.
Well, I guess we're actually starting with hills you're going to die on. Memory.
So I could tell you if you want to know like an early memory, sure. But the first memory, no.
Doesn't sugar play a big part in memory?
Probably.
I thought it did. I thought sugar had a big effect on like how your brain remembers things.
I mean, I think added sugar is probably not good for your memory. That's probably what contributes partially to brain fog, but
fair enough. All right,
not a memory expert. I just Now it's different if you're like, I remember the first time we met or something like that. Like that's different, but I'm talking about people who say that they know what their first memory like in life was. I'm just like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You might remember like a story your mom told you or something from your early childhood, but there is no way on planet Earth or beyond that you can prove to me that you know actually your first memory.
Okay, well then let's just refine it a little bit. And let's go with what's one of your earliest memories of sugar?
I don't know. Still a weird question. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. You just like popsicles in the summer and making Kool-Aid, which is just like a little bit of flavoring and then 2 cups of sugar with water.
Now that you bring that up, I do remember that. That was a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Well, when I used to work at Chick-fil-A, and when we would make the lemonade, it was like huge amounts of sugar that you would put in the lemonade. Kind of blew my mind because we would unload the truck on whatever day the truck of supplies would get there, and there'd be just these like 50-pound bags of sugar that we would have to bring in, and we'd get these shipments like twice a week, and it was just an exorbitant. What's the word for it? Exorbitant amount of sugar.
That you're absorbing it into your body.
Yeah, that's a lot of absorption.
Do you have a sugar memory?
No. I think one of the earliest, not the first, but one of the earliest memories that I have of sugar was at my grandmother's house. She would make pancakes, and the syrup that we would put on the pancakes was Aunt Jemima. It was Aunt Jemima syrup.
Grandma Jemima.
Grandma Jemima. Yeah, it was Aunt Jemima syrup, and it was so good. I just wanted to put a ton of it on there. And then, like as I grew to be, an older child, I would, when my mom wasn't looking, I would take the sugar bowl and into like my cornflakes in the morning. I would put like as many spoonfuls of sugar as I could get into the bowl before my mom turned back around to see what I was doing. So
Yeah, it is amazing how as kids in the 90s, you just in the early 2000s, you're just literally dumping white sugar
yeah,
all over your food. Like cereal, fruit, just anything. Drinks.
yeah, yeah.
There's just like no shame.
No, I had no shame. We never had frosted flakes. We just always had the normal corn
Oh,
flakes.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, we had normal corn
Yuck.
flakes. It had the green chicken on it with the
Oh yeah.
yeah. We would
No,
get
we would
those.
only get that for like topping like a Thanksgiving dish, like a potato dish or something, and you put
Oh,
flakes on top. That's the only reason we'd ever have that shit in my house.
I didn't. Yeah, we ate that as a breakfast item. So I'd put tons of sugar in there. I was like, why can't we have frosted flakes? It comes with sugar on it. And then I think we got them like one time, and I still added more sugar onto it. But
Yeah, no, we had all those bad cereals. Like Fruity Pebbles were my favorite. But you had to eat not Fruity Pebbles. Yeah, Fruity Pebbles.
they're like the little Rice Krispies
Yeah,
type
that
thing.
are colorful.
Yeah,
But they get soggy if you leave them
you gotta eat them so
in your
fast.
milk. Yeah, you gotta eat them fast or just don't put that many in your bowl and then just eat with your bowl.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch though, that was the jam.
Yeah, that one was good. Yeah, but we used to eat grapefruit where you'd cut it in half and then you'd slice it out and then you just like load the top with sugar.
Oh,
I'd
ew.
eat I dipped strawberries in sugar.
I never did that either.
I
Not
did
not that
that.
I remember anyway.
Yeah, I did that one time because I'm used to eating all this stuff with sugar on top. And one of my brothers yelled at me and said that wasn't healthy. And I was like, I didn't know you were so concerned about health. We were like 10 and 12 or something.
Well, hey, sounds like he was on the right track.
Yeah, but it's not like that's not what he was yelling at me about. Like, he didn't care about the health part. It was just that I was doing it and he didn't like what I was doing.
Oh, I see. Well, okay, so if sugar disappeared tomorrow, what would be the food that you would miss the most? This is kind of a loaded question for you because I feel like you've already made a drastic transition away from sugar.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped eating. Well, I did when I did. I think I've talked about this before, but I did a Whole 30 when I was trying to figure out some health stuff. And a Whole 30, there's no added sugar, so you can still have like fruit and that kind of stuff. But you not in the Whole 30. It's not like you don't have honey or syrup, like maple syrup or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even, but what would I miss the most? I mean, I would ice cream or dark chocolate covered almonds. Those are like my two kryptonites.
Mm.
So those are the two things that will be the hardest this year in doing a no added sugar. But I'm not really worried about it because, I have done without and I could do without. And I don't know, it's two things
Do you think that ice cream
I'll
would
live.
be like would still be good if it was like homemade ice cream just with no sugar in it?
No, I actually do. And that's part of why I want to do this because I actually want to make homemade ice cream. And I just stumbled across a recipe, I think yesterday, that said how to make like peaches homemade
Oh,
ice cream. And
yeah.
so I think it would be good. It's just you have to train your taste buds. So I think the first 2 weeks of doing no added sugar is hard, but then your taste buds adjust. So you just have to get through the 2 weeks and then you're golden.
So where's the motivation coming from for you to do a whole year of no sugar or no added sugar?
No added sugar. It's because well, generally I think that it's like what I want to do to begin with and what I strive for just generally because I really don't eat a lot of, we'll just call it sugar. We're talking about added sugar, but I don't want to say added sugar every time. But specifically this year, it's because we have a toddler and I feed her most of the time. And I have done a bit of research into child behavior and how sugar affects that. And basically, the long and short of it is it's not good. I mean, and you also don't want spikes in blood sugar
Mhm.
with even like just fruit and stuff alone.
Mhm.
But that's not a hill I'm going to die on. I'm not going to be like, you can't just eat fruit by itself. Like, that's stupid. But it does make your blood sugar spike. So you should have a well balanced snack, even.
Right.
But so with her, I don't want, I don't think it's good for her to have added sugar. And I also don't want to be the recipient of the like crazy behavior that
Yeah.
comes along with little kids having sugar. Like, I just don't think it's good. And then it's hard enough to be a mom. I don't need it to be like extra hard because we're on high on sugar. And so she doesn't, under my control, command, ever have sugar, with the exception of she used to eat flavored Greek yogurts, and those had a little bit of sugar
Mhm.
in them. But otherwise, I'm trying to think if there are any other things that like we give her that have sugar and not really. And there was one time where she had some honey nut Cheerios and then she was just a little crazy. And I was like trying to figure out what happened, like why is she, and then I realized that she had, because she loves the honey nut Cheerios. She gets them from an outside source sometimes. And so after I put two and two together, I was like, oh, we should probably not give her those. And so I think just seeing that and living through a few of those anecdotal experiences, I'm like, okay, I am not really willing to waver on the sugar thing with her because behaviorally, I just think it's not going to be the best for us during
Yeah.
our day to day life. So then it's like, okay, well, she and I are eating together most of the time. So I'm not going to like sneak sugar or something with sugar in it when she's standing right there.
Right.
And then she's like, what's that? Why can't I have some? And so then the only time I really have it is at night. Like after dinner, I'll have ice cream or dark chocolate covered almonds sometimes, like while she's napping or something. But I'm just thinking, like, not that I'm sneaking them, but it is like I'm not doing this when she's around because I don't want her to have them. So then it's like, okay, but put a mirror up to yourself. Why are you having them?
Yeah.
And not that like I have to treat myself like a toddler and do everything that she does. But when it comes to food, the reason that I'm not giving that to her is the same. Like, I have the same thoughts as to when I eat it, if that's good or bad for me. So, and then as she gets older too, I just don't want, actually, I haven't thought super far about this, but like we
Mhm.
always have ice cream in the, not always, but like most of the time we have just vanilla ice cream in the freezer. And right now she's too young, but as she gets older, it'll be more of like, oh, I want this, I want that, just like whatever's in the house. And so I think this is a good time to just eliminate that sugar dragon
Yeah.
in our lives so that, and not even like you, I wasn't like, I say, we have to do this. You were just on board too.
Yeah, I'm in support of it.
Yeah, in our lives so that then it'll just set us up for further success. And I think it's the healthier way to live, kind of point blank, period. So,
Yeah, I think it's better for us to kind of set the standard and say, "Oh, if we're not going to allow you to do this, then why am I allowing myself to do this?" So,
right. And again, this doesn't apply to like everything in life, but when it comes to food, I feel like it's
yeah.
pretty
No,
standard.
it's a good standard to set, I think. Let's take a quick break. And we're back.
We're back.
We're just kind of making sure that everything's running smoothly. But yeah, so the with the no sugar thing, I think that I'm actually very inspired by you forcing not forcing, but just kind of challenging me to be better about that because I actually read a book, not a book. I listened to a podcast with this guy. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but he had done Logan Paul's podcast a long time ago, and he was talking about how he had like developed cancer or something,
Mm-hmm.
and like decided to cut out sugar out of his diet completely, and within like 6 months, like the cancer was gone, and I thought that was very fascinating. He ended up, dying a few years later from, I think it was from cancer still, but I don't know if he reintroduced
Mm.
sugar to his diet or anything. But at that juncture, I just kind of felt challenged, like, oh, maybe that's something that I should consider. Maybe that is something that I would like to incorporate and just, become overall healthier. But I find it to be a very difficult struggle because I've grown up in an environment where, I have a lot of access to sugar, and I don't know, it just hasn't. I think that, it's interesting seeing the change in society moving from like the 90s to like now, where there are a lot more like processes and sugar and everything's processed, and it's a lot harder for me because I enjoy taste. I'm more of a foodie than you are. I could go for a great meal that tastes phenomenal, but may not be the healthiest thing for me. That's kind of one of my vices. But I do appreciate you kind of moving me in that direction, kind of helping push me along that path. Um,
But I think that eliminating sugar just will help your taste buds recalibrate to the food of the earth,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, eating a lot of things in its natural state is pretty awesome too. But I kind of struggle with that because it doesn't taste like what I'm used to.
Right. Yeah, it's like, but you kind of have to if you want to do if you really want healthy food and like fruits and whatnot to taste delicious,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to get rid of the sugar and the all the fake stuff because all those chemicals and the artificial sweeteners and they especially those artificial sweeteners and whatnot that are in a lot of things just cannot compete with nature. Like you can have a something that is ultra processed food that's like 500 times sweeter than a strawberry. And
Yeah.
so if you're eating that all the time and then you go to eat a strawberry, you're not going to be like, wow, this strawberry is so sweet because chemically in your brain, you're used to 500 times higher level of sweetness. That's actually why I stopped chewing gum
Oh,
for the most part because I love gum. Love it. Like I like having minty breath that's like
it's a good fresh feeling.
it's a good feeling. I like chewing on it. I just like having it. It makes me feel cool, especially if I'm like out and about. Like I just love gum.
You a double bubble girl?
No. I'm like mint gum. But the most sugar-free gums have what aspartame in them,
Yeah.
which that has its own issues. But something like aspartame is going to be, I think, literally it is 500 times. So we could, I don't have data to back this up,
Do
but
your own research.
500 times sweeter than what you're going to find in nature. And so even something that's like as little as chewing gum, it's not necessarily about the gum, it's about like the chemicals that the gum is releasing into my brain going like, "Oh, this is something sweet." And so then if I'm chewing gum all the time and having those chemicals go into my brain to like tell me where to set the caliber for sweetness,
Mm-hmm.
and then I eat a strawberry or a blueberry or whatever, it's not going to come anywhere close. So even I think something like that is sabotaging trying to eat healthy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I mean, maybe it feels extreme, I don't know, but I think it actually makes it easier instead of just like dibble dabbling because then it's like, oh, well, strawberry tastes pretty sweet, but like it's not as sweet as the Snickers that I have once a week or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Kind
that's
of
where,
resets your baseline.
yeah, so that's what I'm going with.
So, what's the most unhealthy thing that you believed was healthy that you ate while you were younger?
Something that I thought was healthy,
Yeah.
but really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably gum, honestly, because in my head, gum is like a substitute for, not a substitute for eating, but sometimes like when you just throw a piece of gum in instead of like
Yeah.
having a snack or something. And yeah. But then if I'm actually sabotaging myself,
Yeah, that's a little bit backwards. That
I
kind of
don't know.
sucks.
What is yours?
Um, I think mine would probably have to be pizza.
You thought pizza was
Yeah,
healthy?
I kind of thought pizza was healthy. I mean, it's got vegetables on it. It's got cheese. Cheese is natural. I used to think cheese was
You
natural.
who on the planet Earth thinks pizza is healthy?
I did. I thought pizza
Unless
was
maybe
healthy.
you're like in Italy. Then I could be
Yeah,
convinced maybe.
that would actually be a lot of fun. I would love to go to Italy and eat pizza
Yeah,
in
I
Italy.
think that everyone. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that anyone's like, no.
Well, I mean, I've never it's never really crossed my mind like going to Italy. Italy's not been on my list of like, oh, I want to go here until, recently, but that's because I kind of found out that pizza in Italy might be healthy. So now I kind of want
Hmm.
to go. But
That is funny. I thought pizza was
yeah. How do you think that your health has improved since you kind of started removing sugar from your diet?
healthy. That feels like a loaded question. Because the first time I removed sugar was probably almost 10 years ago. Excuse me. It was almost 10 years ago now. So I think, so what I think that it's done is made some going into something like this a lot easier, and it doesn't really feel daunting at all.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the two things that are the biggest are ice cream and dark chocolate covered almonds. But so that those two things like I'll miss, but again, that'll take 2 weeks and then it'll be just life.
Yeah.
So I think it's just generally rather than saying like, oh, I want to go a year without added sugar, that being a really daunting thing that's going to affect like every aspect and angle of my life. It's just like, okay, after dinner, I have to have a new nighttime routine and maybe like,
Have some blueberries.
yeah, just during nap time. Cause those are the two times. Like during nap time I'll have almonds and during after dinner I have some ice cream. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously those will be good things to cut out and replace with something healthier. So it's kind of just like the last little push that I need to do to get rid of like those two habits that I have in place and just replace them with healthier options.
Yeah. How did you get introduced to Paul Saladino? Because I hadn't heard of him until you told me about him. But how did you find out about him?
I listened to there's a podcast that I listened to that he was on, and pretty much everything that he said, I was like, yes, like this is my guy. This is everything that I think and like am driven towards, geared towards, but coming from someone who is an MD, because a lot of people are like, oh, whatever, you're not a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I found a pretty credible doctor that backing me up. So that's number one. And then two, just I agree with a lot, obviously not everything. I feel like no one agrees with everything from everyone.
Right.
But and so I agree with a lot of his just stance and worldview on health related things for the most part. And then I also think like he lives it. A lot of people talk the talk, but like, do they really walk the walk? And he really truly does. And I mean, obviously, I don't know him personally,
Yeah.
but just from what I've seen of his content, and it's also very clear, I think. It's just like, this is what I think is best. And he's also really good about being like, this isn't for everyone. Not everyone has to
Right.
do it this way. But people think that I'm crazy for eating because he does an animal based diet, which is just like red meats, eggs, fruits, raw honey, raw dairy,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so he's like, I get a lot of flack, is that the right word?
Yeah.
From people for eating like this. But then if you look at like the modern cart of people in the grocery store and it's just filled with like fake food and ultra processed foods, and he's like, this is actually what's crazy, that people like eating red meat and eggs is so wild, but then eating like sugary cornflakes and just all this ultra processed food, that's just so normal. And I feel that that's really accurate. And so I don't know, I just like black and white. So it's in regards to like eating and not making it complicated, because that's the other thing these days with marketing. Like you go to the grocery store trying to eat healthy,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means, and then you're like reading labels and looking at the marketing and the packaging, and so much in the grocery store is trying to convince us that it's healthy, that you could be buying something that looks really healthy and has all the right words on the label, and then it's actually not. And so I think uh, it just kind of eliminates that guessing game, because the marketing has gotten so good
Yeah.
about like, this is making you feel like you're eating healthy, but it's actually not healthy. And I just am tired of that. So
Yeah.
out with it.
Well, you kind of also introduced me to the idea that we should probably read the labels on what the ingredients are in the things that we're eating.
Yeah.
And it is just bananas when you start reading those. It's like 35 ingredients for a box of cereal.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at the list of ingredients, because I will, and if it's just long to begin with, like if there's a lot there, I'm out. But then I'll look at what the ingredients are, and the first five or so are going to be the most important. But then, like that's another thing. It's tricky because if you don't want to put that you have sugar on there or a specific sweetener, you don't want it to go above a certain level, then instead of having like however many grams of just straight sugar, you can have like a little bit of sugar and a little bit of this sweetener and a little bit of that sweetener and a little bit of this sweetener. So like all of those things separately are going to be counted as separate things.
Mm-hmm.
So one, they fall closer to the bottom of the list, meaning that there's less grams or whatever in the thing, but also there's certain thresholds that, like through the FDA, if you have more than a certain threshold of something, you have to put that on the label or whatever. But if you break it up into like these 10 different things that equal the one thing, but it's not the one thing, then you can get away with it. So it's just like sneaky games.
Yeah, finding the right loophole.
Yeah. And that also plays into meat too, like red meat. I always thought buying grass fed meat was so good. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want. We know that, right? Buy grass fed. But then I recently learned that it has to be grass fed and finished, or 100%. I think I would need to like fact check myself. Or 100% grass fed, because otherwise, what it means is that if it's like, because I think 95% grass fed is a thing too, or just straight grass fed. Because basically, what I learned from Paul Saladino is that all like cows are grass fed, or maybe not all of them, I don't know. But then it's what they're finished with. So, like, a cow grows up, sure, eating grass, but then they have to beef it up. So then they get all this grain and bad stuff. And
Right.
that's what really beefs them up with all these hormones and whatever. And so, if you put grass fed on there, that effectively means nothing unless it's fed through their whole life, which would be grass fed and finished, or
Right.
100% grass fed. So it's just little stuff like that it's so nuanced. You're like, how the heck am I supposed to know that like grass fed and 100% grass fed, or grass fed versus grass fed and finished, is making this big difference
Sure. Yeah. Why
in
do we
my
have to
life?
make it so complicated? Why can't we just be honest about what's involved in the process?
Yeah. So a lot of the content that Paul Saladino puts out there, it kind of helps you to understand that and to clarify it. So that's why I like him. And I appreciate his content.
Yeah, I really appreciate him doing the pull up bars in airport thing. That was pretty awesome, but we talked about that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lost my train of thought. That happens sometimes.
Well, you're on too.
I am on too. Um,
You gotta take a quick break.
we're gonna take a quick break.
We're back. We gotta take little breaks because we're just figuring out how to not mess up.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are your kind of expectations for the year with no sugar? How do you think that how do you think it's gonna change you going through this entire year? I think it's gonna change me a lot.
I think that it will hopefully help my sleep and my skin and just eating healthier in general because if you don't have sh- I don't know, I don't know, maybe discipline because it's just like, oh, we're not doing that this year.
Yeah,
That's just what it is. So that's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
I think it's gonna. I am excited to see how it helps me with my sleep and with gaining like solid weight instead of just kind of bullshit weight. Because a lot of people can gain weight in the gym if you're eating a bunch of cheeseburgers and all that stuff. But like, I'd really like to put on like solid, good muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be exciting to see how that kind of goes. And I'm interested to see how it helps like the inflammation in my knees. And I feel like
Yeah.
I've been inflamed in my face and stuff. So I'm interested to see how I change physiologically going through this year with no sugar. I think it's going to really test my discipline levels though. And I'm really going to have to not, I don't know, not cheat myself,
Yeah.
because I go to work and
Mm,
I
yeah.
have time away. So I'm going to have to be very disciplined about my meal prep and not cheat or give in to the outside pressure of all my coworkers saying, eat a donut. It's
Yeah.
okay, man. It's just a donut. You only live once, so why not live good? Taste the sugar.
Yeah. Work, I think that an office space is definitely a challenge when it comes to eating healthy because you just have so many influences and you're often stressed at work.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, your job, you get up and move around quite a bit, but
Yeah.
a lot of office desk jobs, you just like are sitting all day unless you're getting up to like get a snack or go to the bathroom or get coffee
Right.
or like walk to a meeting or something. When I worked in the corporate world, I like I was the person who would bring because on your birthday, like every people bring treats on their birthday, and we had an office of gosh, I don't know, like 60 to 80 people
Oh
depending
wow.
on the time period. Yeah, so it's big. So it's like someone's birthday every day, like once a week at least.
Yeah.
And and then we also had two kitchens just like chock full of foods and snacks, and some are healthy, but like a lot of them were not. And yeah, then you just get stressed out at work. So that was a big challenge for me when I was in that space. So I totally understand that. Which I did a pretty good job of still eating healthy and stuff, but it's just little stuff that I was in the office that you're like, "Oh, I would never buy this, but I love it and it's here and I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat it." But I did notice a lot of people gain weight working just in their desk job. And so, yeah, for birthdays and stuff, because that's another thing. It's always somebody's birthday, so there's always donuts or cookies or cake or ice cream or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for my birthday, I brought kale chips. That one was a joke because people, because I just ate healthy and I would often not eat the bad stuff or the unhealthy stuff, whatever you want to call it. And so people would give me a hard time, like, oh, you just like they would always talk about kale chips and kale to me. And I was like, I actually am never eating kale around you guys. I don't know where this is coming from. So then on my birthday, I can't remember if it was fruit trays or veggie trays or potentially both. And then like a couple of bags of kale chips just for fun. And you know what? It all got eaten. And every time I go to a party, I'm always that person that brings either a veggie tray or a fruit tray. And I always get made fun of, always. And it always gets eaten.
Yeah.
And my theory is because Like if you go to a party, there's all this food and you're just talking and snacking and whatever. But people feel less bad if they just like are chowing down on broccoli and like dipping into the ranch, or like just chowing down on carrots and dipping those in the ranch while they're talking. And so then that's the stuff that gets eaten because most people do have, like a spot in their brain that's like, maybe I shouldn't eat all these cookies.
Right. Yeah. It is interesting just the amount of pressure from, the people that you're around that you get when you're trying to eat healthy and do something a little bit better. And it's kind of, I don't know, just like weird to me. Like why is it such a thing to make fun of people for trying to get healthy and be a little bit better in terms of, like eating less sugar or whatnot. And I think it might be, maybe it's, like you said, everybody kind of realizes like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be eating all of this stuff, but it's available and everybody else is doing it, so I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just self reflection because I think most people, if you really got down, it's like 7 levels of why people want to eat in a way that nourishes and fuels their body. But it does take a lot of intention, a lot of prep work. Like last night, I was trying to make our meal plan for the next 10 days. And so I was like taking inventory of the fridge and the freezer and then trying to map out the meal plan and what we were going to prep when and like what you're going to take to work with you. And it took me probably an hour and a half,
Oh wow.
maybe more. I mean, I was also interrupted by a toddler who's like wanting to me to not complete my task.
Right.
And so it's not easy and it's not something that's convenient or easy to do. And so I think a lot of people would love to achieve that goal, but it's just too hard to put in the time and effort and work. And I think that the no sugar thing for the year won't really be a big deal. I think it's more about the preparation of the other food.
Yeah.
Having,
Yeah, cooking all of the food and making it at home. That's a big time suck.
I mean, yeah, we always make food at home pretty much,
Yeah.
but just making food that's, high in protein and nourishing and fills you up and all that. And that makes sense. So you're not wasting food, but you don't have to make every meal new because that's just not. Then you're in the kitchen all day, which is just nauseating. Like, I'm the kind of person who wants to spend like 6 hours one day a week just prepping all the food, which that reminds me, we need to probably get more glass containers. I love Pyrex. I'm a big Pyrex
Yeah, those are
glassware girl,
awesome.
but somehow we have some has been some has disappeared over
True.
the years, so we need another set probably.
Well, thanks again for joining us, everybody. We're gonna check in with you guys over the next year and let you know how we're doing on this year with no sugar.
It's a wrap.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks for watching or listening.